and we appreciate his time. Just his second season at the helm. He becomes the third youngest coach to win the Super Bowl. 38 years, 227 days old, trailing only Sean McVay in Super Bowl 56, Mike Tomlin in Super Bowl 43. They avenged their loss to the Patriots in the last Super Bowl appearance. That was in 2014. This year's team also accomplished what the 14 group could not. They win the Super Bowl. Exactly 1/4 of all Super Bowl champions boast the #1 scoring defense that year. Think about what the defense that Macdonald helped create in Baltimore. He takes it to Seattle, and they are celebrating, and we say hello as a group here in Los Angeles, where next year's Super Bowl will be. RC and Swag alongside. And Ryan, you were mentioning to me as we were watching this that you went up in camp.
Yeah.
And he said he knew in camp. What'd you see in camp?
The first thing you knew was that Jaxson Smith-Njigba was killing anybody that tried to guard him. He ends up being the offensive player of the year. And they were in joint practices with Green Bay. And there was a segment or a section of practice where the defense fought Green Bay's offense 6 times in a row. And then they got to the sideline and they was about to fight each other because everybody that held a Seattle Seahawks back ended up being the op. Those conversations they had on that sideline about the way that they were going to compete, the way that they were going to impose their physicality on other people, you saw that progress throughout the season. And it was late in this season, you go back to week 16, the 4th quarter against the Los Angeles Rams. Rashid Shaheed gets the touchdown on the punt return.
Yep.
Sam Darnold finds a way to win. Kenneth Walker ascends to be the focal point of that run game. And we've seen that team take off since then, and it culminates with the championship.
Swag, what most impressed you about how thoroughly dominant they were against New England tonight?
Still physicality. That's what this team was built and bred on. They missed one tackle early in the game, and we were all in the green room shocked that Love didn't make the tackle in the open space. But when you think about it, this defense as a unit has swarmed and played together. The intent, the percentages that you have in order to win a football game, it changes that much. They have continued to turn the football over. They have continued to play at a very high level. But the most important thing that the Seattle Seahawks defense did this year, they brought the fight to every single game. They dictated. I've been on TV with RC for now, 7 years?
Yeah.
And I said defenses that dictate as opposed to trying to catch and figure out what offenses are doing usually give themselves an opportunity to be great, and I think that's what Seattle did all season long.
Scott, I remember it like yesterday. We were there on a Saturday night. It's the Seahawks versus San Francisco, and they end up getting the #1 seed.
Yep.
And I could tell that night we all felt that they could end up here. I think, how much have you seen this team grow from that moment to now? Because it felt like they knew they were supposed to win.
And I'll be honest. I thought that their biggest hurdle was the team that was their biggest hurdle, and that's the Rams. Think about what Stafford and the Rams did. Stafford threw for 6 touchdowns and about 850 yards in 2 games at Seattle, and they didn't win either of them, which is not a knock on the Rams. It's credit to Seattle figuring out a way. But the fact that they got to be at home and the significance of them winning that game at home against on the road, I should say, against San Francisco, which meant the road went through the 12s and them up there. Does that game go different if it's in this building for the Rams? I don't know, but I do think they became who they thought they were from camp.
And to your point, Scott, one thing that doesn't need to get lost is the job that John Snyder, this general manager, did. Like, you think about this team coming into the preseason. First, Sam Darnold is out of Minnesota because of 2 bad games, because he won 14 of them during that season. DeMarcus Lawrence is called over as a vet that has been highly productive.
He'll join us later in the show.
Leonard Williams did not start as a Seattle Seahawk. Jaron Reed, you think about the draft. RC brought this up with Witherspoon, Emenware this year, Byron Murphy. Like, this team has been built and put together to be what they are. But the most important thing that they did this offseason, more than anything, or 2 off seasons ago, was hire Mike Macdonald from the Baltimore Ravens. Because when you think about his messaging leading into this season and telling those guys that they would hoist the Lombardi at the end of the year, being around football as long as he's been, there had to be something he saw to tell him that this particular team could be the team. And I think it was a mix of veterans that you brought in free agency, a mix of guys that were still hungry to win a Super Bowl, with young guys that were highly productive. That's what the Seattle Seahawks team was, but they supplemented this by bringing guys in that had played at a very high level in other places.
Also, too, this is a totally different team than won the Super Bowl years ago.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Over a decade ago, the Seattle Seahawks won a championship. They had a young quarterback in Russell Wilson. You had the Legion of Boom. All of those people are gone.
Yeah.
And so John Snyder had to see if could do, and Mike Macdonald, in my opinion, owned Josh McDaniels like we saw long ago when Bill Belichick did the same to a young Sean McVay.
Interesting. We're going to talk to Tim Hasselbeck in a bit about the Sam Darnold piece of this, because that is a redemptive arc, and it's a journey that's been completed, not done, but it's got to the finish line as a Super Bowl champion. You mentioned May. Mike Vrabel, who's been a Super Bowl champion as a player with New England, come up on the short end of it after this bitter defeat. Their thoughts.
We had a really, really good year, and one that I'm proud of, but in this game, I don't think is a reflection of our year. We lost, and we were beat. We were beat, out-coached and outplayed, and give them credit. Every year, unfortunately, somebody loses this game, and we can't take it out on the people that love us the most. And I try to tell them, you got to find a place to get with those people tonight, and thank them, and hug them, because they'll be the ones that are there when you lose to the Steelers, and you lose to the Bills, and you lose to the Raiders, and you lose the Super Bowl. They're gonna be the ones that love you no matter what. And I think we have a bunch of great guys, and I'm sure this will bother them for a while, and then we'll have to get back to work.
Yeah, he was a heartbeat. No doubt about that. He was the big reason why we're here. He's always the same, and look forward to my relationship with him for a long time. He's a great person and hell of a football coach. It's a business at this level, but it's more than that. It's more than that. In a game like this, and I think that's about it. It's more than a business. There's people in there that are doing it, not for the money or the fame, and that's what's cool about this team.
That's a young dude with an old soul. Go ahead.
I would play.
I love that.
I would play with him. I want Drake May on my team, and I hope you never lose that. I hope Drake May never gets to a point where his feelings aren't broken after losing the biggest game he'll ever play in. I hope he never gets to a point where he can't recognize what everyone in that building, from the top to the bottom, does to help you win football games. To talk about his coach in that way and say how he's looking forward to the rest of what their relationship is going to be, to talk about the fact that they not playing for money, you're not playing for fame, like that's what happens when you get to this point. Nobody ever thinks about losing the Super Bowl until you lose it. If you're good enough to get there, you believe that you can win it, and it is heartbreaking.
And he's only a second-year man and the second youngest quarterback ever to play, and to hear it, that kind of wisdom, man, that's heavy. And he did mention took an injection in his shoulder, and we point that out because there was a shoulder injury, and he's a quarterback. I'm sure plenty of other players did as well to be available for this game. It was clear, fellas, that they were in deep water early, and that this was not a day or a night for him, the quarterback, or for them. What do they take away and move forward with as a group, Swag?
The young players on this football team got a quick dose of what this league is about. So that's how you respond. And I think Mike Vrabel is the perfect coach for that, because he played and he understands how you got to kind of recycle and reshift your mind to get ready to try to make a run again. But more importantly, man, these young players for the New England Patriots, and I know we're going to talk about Will Campbell and what he gave up tonight, but to play in the Super Bowl as a rookie and to be on this stage and to play the playoff games that they played and the level of adversity that you face in playing three of the top defenses in the NFL on your way to having an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl, I think it's going to pay dividends for them. This team is going to be about now, how much leadership do you have? How fast do these young guys grow up and recognize that you just don't get here by lining up again? This is a hard road to travel to try to get back to this game, but hopefully they take some of this experience tonight, some of this pain, and it builds grit, it builds some callous, it puts them in a mindset